A divorce lawyer walks into a room with a happily married couple, not to warn them, not to scare them, but to give them the one thing most couples never get: an insider's view of exactly how marriages fall apart before it's too late. James Sexton has spent 25 years watching couples destroy what they built. He's seen every pattern, every mistake, every moment someone said, "I wish I had known this sooner." And today, he's sitting down with Jake and Christina, a couple who are happy, in love, and smart enough to ask the hard questions before things go wrong. What happens next is one of the most honest conversations about marriage you will ever hear. Jake and Christina are a young couple. New baby, busy careers. Christina is a dentist. Jake hosts a podcast. And like every couple, they have disagreements. Here's a small one that reveals everything. They were planning a trip from Los Angeles to New York. Jake wanted to leave Monday. Christina wanted to leave Tuesday. One extra day to pack, clean the house, get the laundry done, make sure everything was in order before they left with their 9-month-old baby. Jake's response? You don't need 2 days to pack. Simple disagreement, right? But James Sexton sees something much deeper happening here. He says, this tiny argument, this one small conflict about departure dates, contains everything you need to understand about how marriages succeed or fail. Not because the argument matters, but because of how they're having it. James has a unique skill. He argues for a living, but more importantly, he listens for a living. And what he heard in Jake and Christina's conflict wasn't two people fighting about travel plans. He heard two people who both had completely valid, loving, reasonable motivations and had zero idea what the other person was actually feeling. Here's what Jake was really saying: I'm excited. I want more time with you. I want us to explore a new city together. I can't wait. And here's what Christina was really saying: I'm overwhelmed. I just got back from a work trip. I have a baby to pack for, a house to leave in good shape, laundry to do, food to put in the fridge so we come home to something warm and comfortable. I need one more day to feel like I'm not losing my mind. Neither of them is wrong. Both of them are actually being incredibly loving, but they never hurt each other because they got positional. Jake started building a legal case for Monday. Christina started defending Tuesday. And the moment two people stop sharing feelings and start presenting arguments, the conversation is already over. James calls this the lemon problem. Two people want the same lemon. There's only one. The obvious solution seems to be cut it in half. Except one person wanted the rind for baking. The other wanted the juice for lemonade. They could have both had exactly what they needed, but nobody stopped to ask why the other person wanted the lemon. Most arguments in marriage work exactly the same way. James makes a statement that stops everyone cold. He says, you will never win an argument with your spouse, because if you lose, you lose. And if you win, your spouse lost. And that's a loss for you too. This is not a game where one person wins. Marriage is not an adversarial relationship. You are on the same team. You don't want to defeat your partner. You want to understand them. And yet, most couples default to debate mode the moment conflict arises. Why? Because we are conditioned to it, especially men. James explains that from a very young age, men are not taught to access their emotions or share them. They are taught to solve problems, build arguments, find solutions. When a woman expresses that she is overwhelmed, the male brain immediately starts calculating how to fix the overwhelm, not how to feel it alongside her. And this is where so many couples miss each other completely. Christina did not need Jake to solve her packing problem. She needed Jake to understand that she was feeling overwhelmed, that she had just gotten back from Vegas, that she had a 9-month-old to prepare for, that she wanted to leave the house in a way that felt peaceful, not chaotic. If Jake had simply said, "Hey, tell me what you're feeling about this," the entire argument might never have happened. James explains what radical empathy actually looks like in practice. It is not agreeing with everything your partner says. It is not giving in every time to keep the peace. It is not suppressing your own needs to avoid conflict. Radical empathy is this: before you respond to what your partner is saying, ask yourself what they are feeling, not what they are arguing, not what their logic is. What is the emotion underneath the words? Because here is the truth James has learned after decades in courtrooms and divorce proceedings. We are not thinking creatures who sometimes feel. We are feeling creatures who sometimes think. Almost every decision a human being makes is driven first by emotion and explained by logic afterward. So, if you are trying to win your spouse over with a perfectly constructed argument, you are speaking the wrong language. You need to speak to the feeling. When Christina said she wanted an extra day, she was not asking Jake to validate a logistical timeline. She was saying, I feel overwhelmed, and I need you to see that. The moment Jake acknowledges that feeling, everything changes. Suddenly, it is not a debate. It is two people on the same team figuring out how to make each other's lives easier. And that is what marriage is supposed to be. Here is the part of the conversation that James says most couples never have until it is too late. He uses a simple image, a plant. Nobody kills a plant on purpose. Nobody brings home a plant thinking, I cannot wait to watch this die. But people kill plants all the time because they get busy, because the plant is just there, because you stop noticing it, and one day you turn around and it is gone. Marriage works exactly the same way. The couples James sees in his office, the ones who have reached the point of no return, did not get there because of one dramatic explosion. They got there because of 1,000 small moments of not watering the plant, missed connections, unspoken feelings, small gestures that stopped happening, a slow drift where two people who loved each other deeply simply stopped seeing each other. And here is the most important thing James says. It is much easier to maintain a marriage than to try to repair one. You can gain 100 pounds and then lose it. People do it, but it is significantly harder than simply maintaining your health in the first place. So what does watering the plant actually look like? James gives a simple exercise. Once a week, ask your partner this question. Tell me 3 things I did this week that made you feel loved. Not 3 big things, not dramatic gestures, small things, dumb things, the kind of things that happen so naturally you do not even notice them. The cup of coffee made without being asked, the moment you moved to the street side of the sidewalk without thinking about it, the 20 minutes you took the baby so your partner could just breathe. These are acts of love. They deserve to be named. They deserve to be heard. And if your partner cannot think of 3, that is information. Either you need to show up more or you need to have a conversation. Either way, you fix it now, not later. James says something that surprises Jake and Christina. He says their son, the little boy they love more than anything in the world, is also a threat to their marriage. Not because children are bad, but because children consume everything. When a baby arrives, the entire gravitational center of a relationship shifts. Suddenly, every decision, every moment, every conversation involves the child, and slowly, quietly, almost invisibly, the couple disappears. They stop being Jake and Christina. They become parents. And while that is beautiful, it is also dangerous because the relationship that created that child still needs to be fed. The romantic connection, the friendship, the intimacy, the private moments that belong only to the two of them. Those things do not survive on their own. They require intention. James says, your child needs to see 2 parents who love each other, not parents who are tolerating each other for the sake of the family, not parents who have quietly given up on their own relationship, but 2 people who genuinely like being around each other, who laugh together, who choose each other. That is the greatest gift you can give a child, and it requires sometimes putting your spouse before your child, going on a date, having a conversation that has nothing to do with feeding schedules or school decisions, remembering who you were before you became someone's parent. After 25 years, after thousands of divorces, after sitting across from people at the worst moments of their lives, here is what James Sexton has concluded. He does not know what a perfect marriage looks like. He is not sure anyone does, but he knows every way a marriage can fall apart, and he knows this. The couples who stay happy are not the ones who never have conflict. They are not the ones who never disappoint each other. They are not the ones who are perfect. They are the ones who keep showing up, who keep asking the hard questions before they become emergencies, who choose curiosity over judgment when their partner behaves in a way they do not understand, who water the plant even on the days when they do not feel like it. And the couples who end up in his office, they are not bad people. They are not villains. They are people who stopped paying attention, who assumed the love would take care of itself, who waited until the toothache to go to the dentist. James closes with this: the fact that you are worried about whether you are doing this right is proof that you are doing it right, because your parents never worried about that. Most people never worry about that. The desire to be better at this, that is the thing that will keep you out of my office. Marriage is not a destination. It is a practice. It is choosing every day to see the person across from you, to ask what they are feeling, not just what they are arguing, to speak to their emotion, not just their logic, to water the plant before it dies, not after. Jake and Christina walked into that conversation as a happy couple. They walked out with something better than happiness. They walked out with tools, and now, so do you. If this conversation made you think about your own relationship differently, share it with the person who matters most to you. Because the best time to have this conversation is not when things are falling apart.